The Bitcoin and crypto bears are not done with the market just yet. We have pushed to new all-time highs and have since been smacked back down 10% from the previous all-time high of $67,000. And we're in a precarious position at the moment as we're trading underneath the previous all-time high of $64,000. So does this mean that the bears are now in control and is going to push us back down to the previous lows of 30 and 40,000, or is this a new reaccumulation zone? We'll have a look at the possible scenarios and how to play those in the market coming up. And of course, look at Polkadot and its strength against the other major smart contract platforms. Before we dive into that, if you do find some value from the content, make sure you smash the YouTube algorithm numbers down below, as it helps draw more attention to Hopium free, Moonboy free content like this on YouTube. Click the likes, subscribe to the channel, bell notification icon and all, so you can see it pop up in your feeds. And of course, if you find no value from the content, or you do find some value, spend your time in the comments section enjoying what we're discussing in today's video. So first up is Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is king. It gives us a bit of direction as to what's going on in the market. Of course, this is the current week that we are on. So we're on a weekly chart, and we're going to go through these charts looking at weeks into days and then cross over into DOT as well to show us whether we have some strength or weakness appearing in those charts as well. So Bitcoin is currently in a wedge and it has broken out of that wedge. This could be an ascending triangle now. Before it was looking like a possible descending triangle, but I was looking at it as a wedge instead, which isn't very decisive. However, a descending triangle would have been more bearish. Now it's looking like maybe we're in an ascending triangle, and that's a much more bullish sign than when we were currently in the wedge. So we've broken to the upside. We've just nudged the old all-time high as well, and looking to retest the previous high levels. So if we can consolidate in this zone above our 50% level of 53,000, then this is looking much stronger. The only problem for many new investors is that it could take some more time again. Another big point to note is that we are about 6 months apart. That's a pretty good time frame for a double top as well. So I think if we do get that push down to lower prices, then we could be under here for a few more weeks to come, maybe several weeks. We'll continue to track the market, of course. And at that point, the accumulation is back on. We rest, the Moon Boys take a back seat again, and we just wait for the next position to build up. So double tops don't necessarily have to play out to the downside every single time. They're not a 100% technical tool, technical indicator that tells us this is 100% bearish, but it does tell us, at least in the short term, we could see some bearish signals, some bearish signs across the market, especially because Bitcoin is the king. So I just want to mention a couple of things with this double top. The main thing is we are at a bearish signal at the moment, so we want to remain in the bullish section of our 50% level here. So we have the range from the September low to the October top, and now we just want to remain in this top section because this is the stronger part up here, and then this is the weaker section down below. So if we can remain up there and consolidate, then that's going to be a good sign for the rest of the market, and maybe we'll see some pumps in altcoins during that period while we stay at these top levels. Now, of course, this could take many weeks. We've just seen 6 months, so from the April high to our October high, 189 days, probably around 182, which is almost dead on that half a year period. So markets love 50% levels, and 6 months is a pretty good turning point. So with that in mind, maybe we see a few weeks to a few months again underneath the old all-time high, maybe. All right, it's just some scenarios to keep in mind in case it does happen, because that could easily throw new investors off, especially if there's a few weeks down and they just say, forget about it, I'm sick of it, I'm out of this market. Then they miss the big run. So keep that in mind as well. Staying above 53K, which is the previous top here, that's a nice strong position. So really, when it boils down to it, we remain up here, we remain above support of the 50% and the previous all-time high, and hopefully more above this $58,000, $59,000 level. This is a good place to recuperate the energy of Bitcoin before we start to make that move again. And it is very possible that we'll see some of this money in the meantime, while people get bored, flow out into some of these alts to get them to pump. Let's take a look at the Fear and Greed Index, and we are sitting around these high levels between 70 and 80 on the index. And so historically, this has been an okay period for the market to rest, recover, pause, probably get some dumps at that time before we start to move again. So it's not looking too bad on this chart. It looks like we're in an uptrend. We have the lows getting higher, and maybe we'll put in some other lows a couple of days, couple of weeks from now in the 50 to 60 range. So this is still leading towards things are okay. We need some time to rest and recover, especially as the market did shoot up in 4 weeks. So very quick, a lot of emotion, a lot of energy, a lot of social media trying to pump this price, and we just didn't manage to get there. Can I be wrong? Definitely. If we break down from 53, that's the first sign. Then, of course, the next sign is breaking down beneath 40K. Do I think it's going to get there? Honestly, I don't know. But, of course, I'm going to keep tracking it. And if that's the case, we'll be able to see some signs leading closer as the price comes down at that point. So that's where I could be wrong. This is what I want to see. This is what I hope to see. And this is what will tell me whether we're in strength. The other chart I've got here is the relative unrealized profit loss. So as we're in an uptrend, what we can see here, of course, there was the low in the COVID crash, and then we started to move around in the optimism denial stage in this zone. Just something minor to keep in mind. This is a nice zone here where people aren't sure. We start to climb that wall of worry in the market. That's definitely what we want to see as we get to higher prices, because bad news is out and people are unsure. Good time to be buying if we're in an uptrend. If we're in a downtrend, then it's probably a distribution. People are selling out. So at the moment, it seems like we're still in an accumulation stage, and we'll possibly get that push up into greed and then into euphoria, which is pretty much sell everything. Get rid of it all on 1 or 2 or 3 days at that point, and then wait for the next period. But we're not there just yet. We're in the optimism and denial stage. We'll see. But we're in the uptrend, so it looks like it's in the optimism at this point. And people are kind of denying the fact that maybe we're in a longer term bull market which needs to rest. Now over to DOT and looking at some of these price targets. The next price target of DOT, price potential, price prediction, whatever you want to call it, whatever the YouTube algorithm likes best is what we'll call it. That's what most people are searching. My next target is up around $53, and that is a push above the previous all-time high of $49.80. So it is possible to get there. We've pushed above our 50% level at this point in time. We're on a weekly chart looking at a macro view at this point, using the major range from the July low to the September top, back down into the major September low. And we've pushed past our 50% at $40, our top, which was at $38.70. We've got past some resistance levels. This is good for DOT. It looks like we're probably going to go towards our target of around $53. So that's my first target there. I think we should be able to get there. If we fall from that point and we fail at it, that's a very, very weak sign. And I wouldn't be liking our options or our possibility of getting to $53. So 53 is up here at 100%. It's also the 150% of this entire range. So that's a good sign. It's probably a good place for the market to top out and then have a little bit of consolidation, maybe a pullback, maybe some profit taking at that point. My next level up is at 125% of this range right here. So it's from the low to that top, projected from our September low point, and that gives us a price of around $61. So step by step, 53, 61, from where we currently are at around that $43, $44 up to our first target, gives us about a 20 to 25% profit target. So around 20%, keep it conservative. And then on our next target of $61, it's up around 40%. So around a 20 to 40%. If that's not something that's in your plan, it's not enough for you, then maybe DOT isn't something to be investing in. That's something to keep in mind, because it's shouted a lot online that this thing's got to go to X amount, return you 5, 10, 20X. Just keep in mind where some of these levels are on the way up. And this is looking at probably in the next week to a few weeks, provided we continue in this uptrend and the bears don't take too much hold of the market. So .USD is looking all right. They're the targets I got coming up around 53 and 61. DOT against Bitcoin is also holding up. It's above 50% levels on a macro chart, so that's important to me. It's above 0.0006. Continues to hold up. We're still seeing a bit of volume in here, and we're climbing. Good news. And the next level then is to break above 0.00084. So this is this previous top. So this is the area that we want to see DOT reclaim for strength in the market, which will then push over into the USD chart as well, especially if Bitcoin holds its level here or begins to decline slightly, we might see this chart push up just to keep pace and continue up in its USD value. DOT Ethereum is also on an uptrend at this point. It is starting to not necessarily top out, but maybe take a break. Take a break at this point here. Ideally, we want to see it push above 0.0122 of an ETH. So if these are all getting a little bit confusing for new guys, just make sure you want to see these charts in uptrends. So you want to see DOT strong against USD value, against BTC value, against ETH value, so that you can know that you're going to be seeing strength in DOT overall, and your money's going to be better spent in DOT rather than in Ethereum or Bitcoin. This is a safe way to look at it. Now I'm looking at ADA DOT, so it's going to be flipped at this point. This chart going down is stronger for DOT. So DOT has been a much better investment than Cardano for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. For the last 2 months, DOT has been the place to put our money, and it's broken down the 50%. And if we flip the chart, so we invert it, then this is the way it should look. This is positive for DOT. It's going up. It's a inverted head and shoulders. It's broken its 50% level. So this is strong for DOT. And we're probably looking at some sort of resistance around the point 039.038. So this is strong for DOT as well. We'll put this chart back, and then we go across to Sol DOT. So we want to see this chart falling as well, just like we saw on ADA DOT. Falling is strong for DOT and Sol DOT. So I could flip these around. We're here now. I use these against Sol as well. So if this is dropping, good for DOT versus Sol, means money is better spent in DOT rather than Sol. But if we break above these levels, then the money's better in Sol. There's going to be more returns in Sol. Now, you can't predict these things to the exact T and get out at the exact levels. If you do, maybe you should have your own YouTube channel and Patreon group, which I didn't mention earlier on. Check out the Patreon link down below, top of the description, if you want to learn more about trading and how I am playing the markets, how I'm navigating them. Link is in the top of the description here. So this is our 50% level from the top. This would be bad for DOT if we start to break higher, which means there's more energy in Sol than DOT. And if it starts to break down, then we're better off in DOT than in Sol. So that's as simple as it can be. So I might look to take some of the gains and some of the money out of ADA and potentially some Sol as well, because I'm very heavy in Sol, even though this chart is not looking like it wants to rest yet. So this is still looking reasonably strong for Sol. The only difference here is that we had a much bigger downtrend on a weekly than we have had with any of the other corrections from Sol DOT. So this is bigger, which means maybe we're going to see a little more downside, meaning Sol might just hold its position and DOT might continue stronger going up. So looking at this is SwiftX. If you guys want to join SwiftX, link is down below. It's for Aussies and Kiwis. $10 a free Bitcoin when you sign up. Link is down below. So we're going to sell off a little bit of this Sol and probably a little bit of this ADA to put a position of DOT in here. Now I know it's a little bit later in the game, but I think I'm better off having some DOT at this point, especially with ADA being down, and then just a little bit of Sol. Some people might get completely triggered and say, what are you, a fool? Don't be selling your ADA. I get it, but I think I need to have some of my position allocated towards DOT. And being that I'm so heavy in Sol, even though Sol could go up, I get it. Just to be conservative in a portfolio, I like to have some of that in DOT, because at the moment I have 10,800 in Sol, 3,900 in ADA, 2.7 in FTT, and ETH 2.6. So these are about equal, which means I could pull a little bit off Sol and ADA just to give me another position here in DOT. So at the moment, we're up 100%. This is the demo account on SwiftX. As I said, you can find a link to it in the description down below if you want to learn to trade and feel comfortable making those buys and sells on the platform. This is a nice, simple, easy way to do it, and set yourself up with a portfolio to see how you would normally track before you get into the market using real money. Recapping DOT position, the targets here are around 53 and 61. This is just a conservative trade. I know longer term, I'm looking at much bigger targets around the $127, as we've spoken about on the channel before, many videos there, and then also the 100 being a psychological level to get past that. It's looking good against USD, it's looking good against Bitcoin, it's looking good against ETH, it's looking pretty good against ADA at the moment till we get back to maybe some support levels at 0.039, 0.4. So there's still some room for it to run here against those other cryptos, which is why I'm looking to get a smaller position, around $2,000 to $3,000 here in the demo portfolio. And of course, if DOT continues to run and Bitcoin doesn't absolutely crap the bed and start to break down into a massive bear market, then it looks like we could have some good gains out of DOT, and then also that DOT ecosystem and some of those smaller projects which are looking to get started soon. Things like Akala has its stable coin here. It just seems like it wants to be that next DeFi play of the Polkadot ecosystem. We've got things like Moon River. None of these things which I'm buying right now. This has been pumped online on YouTube a fair bit at the moment. So maybe this continues on, maybe it doesn't. I honestly don't know, but I don't like buying on the back of major pumps, especially when it is from people talking about it online. I definitely don't like that. Could be wrong, but that's just the way I need to play my own plan. And you should also trade and invest according to your own plan. If you don't have a plan, stick around till after this video because I'll have plenty of links there you can go and follow to set yourself up with a plan. There's a full playlist on how to get started in cryptocurrency. But if you do want to learn more, check out Patreon down below. While you're there, like, subscribe, share the content around with someone who you think will find value from it. And I'll see you at the next video or on Instagram, Twitter, or Patreon. Till then, have more fun to get more done.